I normally don't need a microphone, but as you can hear, I've strained my voice. How many in the room today have heard about the Affordable Care Act? Raise your hand. How many of you have heard about Obamacare? Raise your hand. Well, that's good, because if any of you saw the Jimmy Kimmel skit, when he walked the streets and asked people if they had heard about Obamacare and whether they liked it, or if they had heard of the Affordable Care Act and they liked it, and he got opposite answers. So they are both the same thing. And from an insurance salesperson's perspective, I've been in the business about 27 years. This has been everything except simple. It has been everything that I would say is not easy. It has turned our insurance world completely upside down because people simply don't understand it. You know, we know that here in Minnesota, we had about 9% of our population without health insurance. We had programs here in Minnesota that were guaranteed coverage for these individuals and their families. But even with that, there was a lot of confusion and people didn't understand that the programs were out there. One of the questions I got asked today is, how do you personally feel about the Affordable Care Act? And I said, well, I'm a salesperson, and prior to the Affordable Care Act, people would be underwritten for health insurance. And if you had pre-existing health conditions, you would be denied health insurance or sent to our state risk pool. And as a salesperson, now that all plans are guaranteed issued, how do I feel about that? Yay. Because every person I talk to now, I can guarantee that I can offer them a plan. One of the confusing things out there, though, that happened last year during the annual open enrollment was individuals assumed that they could purchase health insurance at any time of the year. A lot of people were under the assumption, I will wait until I need insurance to purchase insurance, and that is absolutely false. The federal government has set up some very strict open enrollment periods, and those are the only time during the year that individuals can purchase health insurance. So in the audience, you don't need to raise your hand and bring attention, but is everybody aware of the open enrollment period, yes or no? Yes, so we do have a few people in the room that weren't aware. So last year, the open enrollment period ended March 31st, 2015. And on April 1st, it was almost like April Fool's Day, we started getting calls at Medica saying, hi, I'd like to purchase health insurance now. And that has been up until this most recent open enrollment that just started on November 15th. And there was a lot of confusion out there. We just got a call on Thursday from a young woman, 22 years old, that said, I just found out I'm pregnant. There's a law, and you have to give me health insurance. And I said, yes, there is a law. The plans do have to be guaranteed issued now, but you have to wait until November 15th to sign up, and we can't get you coverage until January 1st. So the biggest message that we want to give individuals out there is that open enrollment is here. It's happening right away, right now. It runs November 15th through February 15th this year. February 15th, again, the door will close. Now, after February 15th, if you do have a life event, meaning that you become married, or you have a birth of a child, or you have a death in your family, divorce, certain life events will give you what we call a special election period where you can purchase a plan outside of the open enrollment period. But you do, without a life event, the open enrollment does end February 15th. In the article in the newspaper that Pat has in the back, excuse me, Pat, I do want you to read the article here because it has some very important information if you're an individual on how to shop for insurance. You need to understand some basic insurance language. What's a copay? What's a deductible? You know, I give people some really basic questions to ask, whether it be with Medica, whether you're talking to health partners, whether you're talking to UCare, Preferred One, Blue Cross Blue Shield. Is my doctor in your network? Is the hospital I want to go to in your network? Do I need a referral to see a specialist? So we can provide that basic language for you. How many of you here have employees? You have employees. So if you have employees, Joel will be coming and speaking to the tax advantages of offering a group plan. I'm a specialist with the individual and family market, but Joel's going to be speaking today, if you are an employer, what the tax advantages are to offering group insurance. So I'm going to give you an example and I hate to steal your thunder, Joel, but Joel gave me an example. You may only have 2 employees today, but if you plan on having 15 employees by the end of 2015, hiring an employee does not create a special election period. So if you hire someone and they do not already have health insurance, unless you offer a group plan to them, they will not be able to get health insurance until the next open enrollment period. And they will still be subject to a tax penalty at the end of the year. At least we think so today. Who knows, the laws change every day. So another message I want to give people is if you did purchase a plan last year, your renewal letters should be coming shortly. And we are seeing some plans that have increases, big and small. But you do want to make sure that you shop every single year to make sure that you're getting the biggest bang for your health insurance dollars. So, of course, because I'm with Medica and I'm here, I do want to give a quick plug to the Medica products, of course. Medica has several plans that individuals and families can purchase. We have our Medica Plus product, and I'm not going to read all the details here, but there are these green brochures in the back that you can pick up if you're shopping for health insurance. We have a HMO plan, or an ACO plan, they call it, with North Memorial. We also have an ACO plan with Health East. We're trying to give people lots of options. We have a Medica Choice plan, which is our largest network. And we have a Mayo Clinic plan for those individuals in southern Minnesota. And we do have a national network for people that travel outside of the Medica service area, where you have coverage outside of Minnesota, outside of Wisconsin, our service areas, same benefit as if you were here in Minnesota. One thing I do want to point out is when you're shopping for health insurance, a lot of people are saying, I understand the premiums, I understand the policy, I understand what it's going to cost me when I go to the clinic, when I go to the hospital, but what Medica's hearing from people is, what else do I get? Do I get a club discount? What else do I get? Do I get extra features that are going to help me stay healthy? How can I save costs? How do I know what things cost? How can I be a smart consumer of healthcare? So this is where Medica really shines. We have a lot of value adds. All of our members get a health advocate. Yes?
Did I understand you say that the Mayo plan only covers southern Minnesota, Twin Cities is not included?
Right, so when you look at this map, those individuals that live in those counties in southeastern Minnesota are eligible for the Mayo Clinic plan. So on each of these slides I showed a map, and you actually need to reside in the service area to be eligible for that plan. So our biggest service area is going to be our Medica Plus service area. And after the meeting, I can stay behind and answer any questions that you might have personally for plans. But again, we've got several value adds. Our Novu is not just a club discount. This is an interactive wellness program where you can earn points. So if you have a Fitbit, you can earn points just for everyday living, going for a walk, healthy living, or joining a weight challenge. And with those points, you can get restaurant discounts. You can take your points at the end of the year, turn them into cash, and donate them to your local charity. Healthy Savings is discount at the local grocery stores that all of our members get, and all of these are at no extra cost to our member. We have Virtual, which is our online clinic care at a very low cost, which saves our members. We have a partnership with Target where our members get additional value. So right now we're running a flu shot clinic. Yeah, I sound like I should have gotten my flu shot. But our members, if you have your flu shot done at clinic, you get a $10 gift card. Jeff's going to come up and talk about Voya, which is our financial wellness program. That Voya and Medica feel that your financial wellness directly affects your health. So we want to make sure that you have free access to budget and retirement readiness programs. Any questions? Oh, the question is, can you access this through MNsure? I want to explain a little bit about the exchanges. So, the federal government and the state government have created shopping malls online where you can shop for health insurance. They've told individuals that's where everyone needs to go to shop for health insurance. And in actuality, only the people that qualify for subsidies through the federal government have to enroll through MNsure. Everyone else can shop for health insurance just like you do today, through brokers like Joel, directly with the health insurance companies. You know, you can purchase the coverage. But if you do qualify for a subsidy, then you do have to go to MNsure.com to enroll in a plan. So, but the plans that we offer at Medica, the pricing and the products are exactly the same on MNsure and off the exchange. If you are not sure if you qualify for a subsidy, you can call directly into Medica. The phone number's on the back of this brochure or on the first page of this brochure. We have a Minnesota subsidy calculator. We'll ask you a couple of questions over the phone, and we'll tell you whether you qualify for a subsidy or not. If you do, our phone reps will actually walk you through logging into MNsure, creating an account. They'll help you choose a plan. We're not naive enough to think that Medica is the plan that meets everyone's needs. You know, we're very competitive in certain parts of the states. In other areas, our rates are a little bit high. I do encourage people, especially newly self-employed, my husband's self-employed, if you qualify for a tax subsidy. I run into this every day where people say, well, people think that I'm going to be, you know, on assistance, or people think that I'm going to, you know, here in Minnesota, this is just a shifting of dollars. We used to have Minnesota Care, which was an income-based program. We used to have Minnesota Comprehensive Health Association, which was a plan set up for people that couldn't get insurance because they have pre-existing health conditions. All that money that was going into those programs have just shifted into the subsidies. So really here in Minnesota, I say if you qualify for a subsidy, take advantage of it, because it's only going to help you. And at some point when you start building revenue within your business, you might not qualify for the subsidy, but what a great tool for you to get your business up and running when you don't have to worry about this very large health insurance premium. You know, it takes 2 to 3 years to build a business, sometimes 5 years to build a business. We want you to be successful. We want you to get up and running, and you're going to be healthier if you have a successful business, and your taxes then will go into helping others get up and running as well. Any other questions? Yep, and I get asked that question a lot. How do we distinguish ourselves? I tell people don't shop strictly on price, because sometimes you pay for what you get. These value adds are nothing like I see out in the market. You know, a lot of the plans have nurse lines, you know, 24-hour nurse line. Well, that health advocate is a nurse line. However, let's say you're having trouble getting into a dermatologist and you've got a spot you're really worried about. That health advocate will start making calls, find an in-network provider, and get an appointment as quick as possible. Let's say, like me, I have caregiver issues with my parent who's not a Medica member. Health advocate will step in and help me find, you know, in-home daycare for my mother, or short-term nursing care for my mother, even though, so I can take a vacation, even though my mother's not a member. We had a member this last year that her daughter was not covered with Medica, but she had called into our customer service department, and she was having an absolute horrendous time finding care for her special needs daughter. Even though her daughter wasn't a member of Medica, that health advocate stepped in and helped her find care for her daughter. They'll negotiate, let's say you can only afford a high deductible health plan, and you end up in the hospital and you have a $30,000 bill with a $6,000 deductible. That health advocate will call the hospital and try to negotiate that bill down for you. They'll set up an interest-free payment for you at the hospital. So I like to say that we take our value adds and we kind of put them on steroids. So we really want to make sure that you have every tool at your fingertips to be successful. It's not just about insurance, but it's about the whole membership experience at Medica. And one thing I can tell you, Medica's constantly evolving. We're constantly talking to the brokers that sell our business. We're constantly talking to our members. We're talking to the community and asking them, what do you want to see in a health plan? If you look at the commercials right now, and I'm going to give a little plug for myself. If you see the Medica commercials right now saying we're listening, those are all Medica employees. And I'm in a couple of those commercials. You'll see my gray hair popping out here and there. But we truly are listening. And that's something that I don't think all health insurance companies do. They worry about the bottom line all the time. And Medica really wants to listen to the community, listen to our members, tell us what you want. Our partnership with Voya, or formerly ING, is very important to us. It isn't just about having options for people that have money. We talk to people every single day that say, I just lost my job. I just lost my group health insurance. I don't know what I'm going to do. We can help them get subsidies through MNsure. And then we turn around and talk to them, have you thought about what your financial situation is going to look like right now? Because Jeff doesn't just talk to people that have money. He'll talk to them and say, well, let's look, if you absolutely, to avoid losing your house, let's look at what it would affect if we had to pull some money out of your 401k. What is that going to do for your overall retirement planning? And Jeff will say time and time again, I'll talk to somebody and it just gives them a huge amount of relief to know they're not going to lose their house. It's really not going to affect their overall retirement readiness. And it's going to take a lot of stress off them, which as a health carrier, that's what we want for our members. And I could keep going on and on and on, but I won't. Thank you for the question. Anything else?
What's the biggest change from last year to this year with the Affordable Care Act?
Okay, the biggest change from last year to this year is anytime you launch a new program and you have health plans launching all new policies, we were kind of blind last year, and all of the plans launched new products, new pricing. Some of the plans the prices were up here. Some of the plans came in really low premium. And so one of the plans in particular came out with the lowest premium in the state, and they got the majority of the enrollment. Well, from their perspective, getting the majority of the enrollment also meant paying out a lot of claims. A big change with the Affordable Care Act now tells the insurance companies, and I don't know if all of you know this, that we have to spend 85 cents of every $1 that we take in directly on medical claims. So you run a business, you know that's a pretty tight margin when you have admin costs that tight. So you have to run an entire business on less than 20 cents on the dollar. So from a plan's perspective, we have to keep a very tight margin on what we expect for membership, to try to price our products correctly. This year what we saw, so last year the premiums were like this between the plans. This year they're like this. There's a slight difference between the plans. Next year I'm guessing it will be even closer, where now it's going to be maybe a few dollars here and there difference in price. And that's where I think those value adds are going to be really important to the consumer. Your price is $5 different from the other plan. Why would I choose your price? And I'm hearing that again and again and again this year, and I never heard it asked once last year. Last year everybody said, well, I'm going to go with this plan because they're the cheapest plan. Now people are becoming better consumers, and that's what the whole Affordable Care Act was supposed to be about. making us better consumers of healthcare. We still have a lot to learn, absolutely have a lot to learn. That's why we want to continue to hear feedback from consumers on what you want in a healthcare plan.
Are there more individuals entering the market now because their employers have decided to get rid of them?
Yeah, that's, thank you very much, Pat. One thing, an anomaly that we are seeing, and I'm sure that you might have seen it in the Star and Tribune and KSTP and WCCO and across the nation, actually, we're seeing some very large employers, the Walmarts, the Targets. There's another large employer, and I don't know that they've made it public here in the Twin City metro area yet. They're dropping their part-time employees. So a lot of employers used to say, well, if you work 20 hours a week, you work 15 hours a week. I think Menards, if you work 1 hour a week, you're eligible for their health insurance policy. A lot of them are saying now that plans are guaranteed coverage out in the world, you can't be denied coverage. We're just, unless you work 30 or more hours a week, we're not going to offer coverage. Another thing that we're seeing with very, very large companies, there were some financial incentives to very large Fortune 500 companies to continue offering insurance to their early retirees, meaning under age 65. Those financial incentives run out the end of 2014. It's one of the reasons my voice is not quite working today. One of those large employers was 3M. They are dropping all of their, they're allowing them to continue on their early retiree plan at $800 a month per member per month, but giving them a choice of going out in the market, which for 12,000 retirees here in the Twin City metro area, that's a daunting task. To be told, you know, $800 a month is per person is a lot for an early retiree when now you're on a fixed income. So they're having to go out in the market and shop for health insurance where they maybe haven't had to do that ever before. So we're just seeing kind of a shift from employers carrying their employees all the way through to age 65 to now saying, you know what, if you don't work here anymore, if you're retired, maybe you should just go shop for insurance on your own. That's a little bit of a trend we're seeing. So the individual market, the pool is growing and growing and growing. We're seeing that more and more. Is it a good thing? I have yet to see that. I mean, I just think offering group coverage, which Joel will tell you, is a phenomenal way to retain employees. And if you're not offering coverage to those employees, the cost of turnover, I would think is horrendous. You know, if you have an employee that says, well, why would I stay here very long? I need to go work for somebody that offers insurance. That can be a huge expense to an employer. So whether it's a smart move or not, we'll have to wait and see. Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting that the question was, you know, small mom and pop restaurants, which Joel will talk about too, that maybe are struggling to afford to offer health insurance to their employees. We are seeing some of them, you know, give the employees, you know, I'll give you a raise, just go out and get your own plan. They do lose some tax advantages doing that. We are seeing a trend, or at least I am seeing a trend of particularly, very particular, and I won't name them, brokerage firms who are actually approaching small employers and telling them, you know, just get out of the business of offering health insurance. Give your employees a raise, tell them to go out and shop for their own plan. Again, you lose the tax advantage of offering a group plan, and my worry is, will that employee take that money and buy health insurance? You know, that's my concern, because there's this misconception out there that you can buy insurance, you know, wait till you're sick and buy insurance in the emergency room, and you can't. And are we going to be seeing a lot of people filing bankruptcy, just like we were prior to the Affordable Care Act, taking that money, saying, I'm not going to buy health insurance with that money, I'm just going to wait till I'm sick, not understanding the process, and then having a huge hospital bill and ending up filing bankruptcy, which was what our hope was the Affordable Care Act would stop, because 90% of bankruptcies across the United States were because of medical bills. So Joel can probably speak more to whether that he's seeing that as a trend or not. I'll leave that to him. Well, I'll stay after, and if anybody else has questions, thank you again for the water. That was very sweet. Thank you.